They say the silence of the night holds ancient voices. I never believed that until I returned to the house where I grew up. It was Christmas Eve. The wind rattled the broken windows, and every corner of that house seemed to watch me. It had been 10 years since I last set foot there. 10 years since my mother was gone, and the living room lights stopped shining. The road there was the same, long, silent, and cold. The kind of place where even the wind seems to carry memories. When the gate appeared through the mist, I felt a chill, not of fear, but of recognition. The iron creaked like before, and the smell was the same. Wet wood, dust, and old perfume. I walked in slowly, feeling like every step was waking something long asleep. The windows slammed on their own, and the porch bells jingled, though there was no wind. Inside, time seemed to have stopped. Sheets covered the furniture like silent ghosts. Dust floated in the air, glowing gold under the weak light of my flashlight. But the Christmas tree was still there, crooked, forgotten, covered in ash. When I touched one of the red ribbons, I heard a laugh. Her laugh. I froze. Silence. Then the sound came again, from down the hallway. One step, then another. I climbed the stairs slowly, trying to convince myself it was just the wind. But the wind doesn't call your name. At the top of the stairs, her bedroom door was open. Inside, everything was clean, as if someone had been taking care of it. On the pillow lay an envelope. My name was written by hand. Her voice seemed to whisper every word as I read, greater than, "If you're reading this, it's because you chose to come back." Houses don't call people. People call memories, and sometimes memories answer. The sound of a piano came from the living room, soft and distant. The same melody she used to play when I was a child. I went down, trembling. The piano was uncovered. The keys were moving on their own. I stopped in front of it. The notes ceased. I pressed a single key, then another, and the music returned, through my hands. For a moment, I felt a presence, a familiar perfume, and a light hand on my shoulder. "You came back, my son." I closed my eyes and played until the end. The lights flickered, the fireplace lit up on its own. But I wasn't afraid. The house was breathing, as if it was welcoming me back. I walked through the rooms, each one bringing a memory. The chair where she used to sew, the window where she waited for my father, the portrait that always seemed to watch me. And I realized nothing had truly gone. Everything was still there, just waiting for me to look again. I found a second letter on the dresser. The handwriting was the same, steady, gentle. The lights you turned off never went out. They were just waiting for you to turn them back on. Forgiveness, my son, isn't about what we do. It's about what we stop doing. The words hit me like a confession I didn't know I needed. For so long, I had run from that house, blaming the past, blaming the pain. But there, in that moment, I understood. I hadn't come back to remember. I had come back to be remembered. The tears came without warning. I sat on the floor, holding the letter, and cried in silence. Not out of sadness, but out of reunion. The candle on the table flickered, and in its flame, I saw her reflection, smiling, peaceful, as if saying, "Now you understand." I lay down on the living room couch. The flame kept burning, lighting just enough for me to see the ceiling and feel the warmth of the fire. I fell asleep like that, lulled by the sound of the wind and the piano melody. I dreamed of her, of hot coffee, laughter, and the sound of the porch bells. I dreamed of the childhood I left behind, and the love that never died. When I woke up, the house was calm. No sound, no presence. But on the piano, a single note played by itself. It was a goodbye. Simple, gentle. I stood up, folded the letters, and put them in my pocket. I ran my hand over the piano's wood, felt the warmth as if it was still alive, and I left. The sun was rising behind the house, gilding the old roof and the broken windows. The wind blew softly, and the trees seemed to move with me in silence. Before leaving, I looked back. Upstairs, behind the window, I saw a silhouette. Delicate, smiling, waving. The lights flickered one last time and went out. But inside me, something stayed lit. A peace I hadn't felt in years. A certainty that love, even when it leaves, never disappears. It just changes form. And as I walked down the road, I realized the house no longer looked so dark. It looked alive. And maybe, just maybe, it was smiling too.